Good morning. It's time for us to begin this morning. Grateful for all who have come to be with us. We're studying from the book of Proverbs this quarter, so if you want to get your Bible or get a Bible or tablet or whatever you've got and turn to we'll be looking at lots of verses from Proverbs this morning. Jason, I've got an echo going. Somehow. Does that mean I need to go up or down?
Take it down a bit.
Okay. And our topic this morning is a good name. And does anybody need material? Anybody need material? A good name. Everybody needs a good name, don't they? Alex, you need one? So Solomon has a lot to say about a good name, and we'll look at a lot of these verses and look at the questions this morning, and hopefully learn something that'll benefit us as we strive to please God. Jason, will you lead us in opening prayer, please?
Sure. Pray. Lord, you are awesome. And we're so thankful that you have allowed us to come and be with other Christians this morning, that we can put aside the things of the world, focus and meditate on your word. We're so thankful for the book of Proverbs, what's recorded there for us, for the wisdom of Solomon and others who have preserved this word for us to see what your will is for us in our lives. Specifically this morning, help us to focus on what it is to have a good name, why walking in integrity and our dealings with others so important. Help that to be primary focus of our lives, that we can live as representatives of you. Help us to wear the name of Christian proudly, and help us to lead others to you through the way that we interact. Be with all those who are teaching this morning, all the Bible class teachers here and all across the world. Help us all to be focused on your word, focused on the applications there are for us in our daily lives. Be with us and help us to stay focused on you, Lord, in everything we do. Help us to honor and glorify you. It's in Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So as we begin to talk about a good name, look at the first verse that comes up there is Proverbs 22 and verse 1. And so it is a proverb we've all heard before. All these we've heard before, especially since we're getting close to the end of Proverbs. We've been through a lot of these, but this one is a good one. It talks about the value of a good name and how we all should value having such. So would somebody like to read Proverbs 22 verse 1 for me? Okay, it says, so a name, in my verse says, is chosen rather than great riches. This new LT version says, choose a good reputation over riches. Being held in high esteem is better than silver or gold. So if you want something that's valuable, if you want something that's very, very valuable, have it be a good name. It says it's worth more than silver or gold. And I know we struggle with that. You think, well, I think wealth is pretty important. I'd rather have wealth, but Solomon says your name is more important than what you have, what your possessions are, and we should all, every day of our life, remember that a good name is it's just eternal. It's worth more than anything that we have here on this earth. And many verses tell us that. Solomon says in Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 1, that a good name is more valuable than costly perfume. So there's nothing that we can think of in this life that is more valuable than a good name. And so when we talk about a good name, what are we talking about? A person's got a good name, they've got a what? They got a reputation. I think that's the first word that comes to our mind. They've got a good reputation. And so, Ron, if somebody's got a good reputation, what do they got? What qualities do they have? Okay, they're very trustworthy. Kind, compassionate. Others got thoughts there? What is a person with a good reputation? Trustworthy, kind, compassionate, honest. Anything else? Dependable. Yeah, they're consistent. They're dependable. You know, you think of people that you think of, they have a good name. You know, you can depend on them. They're consistent. You know and they're honest. They're kind. What they say is what they're going to do. Just the kind of person you'd like to have as a friend, and somebody that has a good name, a good reputation. And we also use the word integrity, and we've used that quite a bit already through Proverbs. You say that person just really got integrity. Is that different? How is that? Or is that just like a good reputation? Somebody with integrity, what do they got? Okay, trustworthy. I'm not sure it's Webster, but a definition adheres to moral or ethical principles. Somebody that's got good moral principles, somebody that's ethical, you say that person's got integrity and consistency. And as we say around here a lot, it's somebody that's always going to do the right thing. It's somebody that's always going to do the right thing. You think that person's got integrity, they've got good reputation, they got a good name. So all of that is very important. And my voice went away, JC. What happened?
And Tara had a good point. Integrity, always doing the right thing when nobody else is looking.
Okay, always doing the right thing when no one else is looking. So that is, it's one thing to do it when people are watching, but when no one else is looking, Jason might get battery on this. Takes a lot of people to operate on me. Okay, so hope you can hear. We'll get that going in just a minute. We know in the Bible it talks about one that had a good name, and in the Old Testament, for instance, I say, tell me somebody had a good name. Who would you bring up? Moses. Moses had a good name. Job had a good name. Joseph. Abraham. I'm thinking particularly of Abraham because he passed that on, didn't he? He passed that on. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, all of those, the heritage of Abraham. And our author talks a little bit about that if you've got a good name and you can pass that on to your family and they pass it on to their family, think of the legacy that you build because of that name. And I know a lot of folks in here, you think back to your parents or your grandparents or your great-great-parents and what they started for you and how that builds. And so then you see, somebody became a Christian. My great-great-granddad was a Christian, and his son became a Christian. And how that passes down for all of us. Got me? Thank you. Sorry about that. But the legacy, having a good name and the legacy that builds, I think that's something that we all need to think about as we live this life. Any thoughts, comments on reputation, integrity, a good name?
The legacy part can also go the other way. You can build a good name for your children, or somebody can hear your child's last name and think, oh, need to stay away from that, or without considering the next generation themselves, but just based on the parents or the grandparents.
Yeah, that's very true. So that name can go the other way. It doesn't always have to leave a good impression on somebody's mind. It can leave a bad impression. I know we were hiring, I just thought of this, Tara, thank you. We were hiring somebody, and somebody brought up this person's last name, and they said, "Oh, you better be careful there." And I said, "She seems like a great person." They said, "Well, but that last name." I mean, and this lady obviously had changed from what I knew about it, and seemed like a great person, but that last name had made an impression on somebody that they said, "You better be careful with that last name." Hopefully, we're not judging people based on their last names, but to Tara's point, that can leave a bad taste and a bad reputation can cause people to wonder about, the family name. So don't have a bad one, have a good one, and build on that for your children and for your grandchildren. Okay, the introduction says, would you rather have someone tell your children after you're gone that you were a rich man or that you were a good, honest, and noble man? Great question. Hopefully we would rather be known as a good, honest, and noble man. Proverbs 19 and verse 1. See what Solomon has to say about that. Proverbs 19 and verse 1. Somebody want to read that one for us?
Better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool.
Okay. Better to be poor and walk in integrity than to be rich and be dishonest and walk as a fool. So certainly we see that. Goes on to say, a man's integrity can gain him honor, glory, and dignity that money cannot buy. In the verse, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. So better to have that good reputation than wealth. And that's hard in this day and age in the United States of America for people to grasp onto that, but that's certainly pointed out throughout the book of Proverbs. So the reasons that you want to have a good name, and it lists number one there, it establishes you. It gives you perhaps some importance. Proverbs 12 and verse 3. Proverbs 12 and verse 3. We want to read that one?
No one is established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous will never be.
Okay. Wickedness never brings stability, but the godly have deep roots. I like that. If you see people that are into all kinds of wickedness and they're very unstable. But if you're godly, if you're doing the right thing, it says you will be established and you will have deep roots. And I think that's all something we all should cherish, is to have deep roots that we're well grounded. People can depend on us. That's the kind of person we want to be. Another part it says about a good name is it originates from others, not from self. So wouldn't be much good for me to tell you what a great name I have. But if you say that I have a good name, then that means a whole lot more. Anybody can brag on themselves, and Solomon points that out. Proverbs 27 and verse 2.
Let another man praise thee, and not thine own mouth, a stranger and not thine own lips.
Okay, so again, let somebody else praise you. Let your praise come from others. Don't be sounding your own horn. Doesn't sound very good when somebody's bragging about themselves, and we've talked about that already in this class. Solomon certainly says that's not the attitude that we should have. But let someone else praise you. It's okay to get praise from others if you handle it correctly, and we'll talk about that. But bragging about yourself is certainly not going to get you a good name. And then verse 21, Proverbs 27:21.
The crucible is for silver, and the furnace for gold, and each is tested by the praise according to them.
Okay, help me with that, Jason.
Well, I mean, it's just you're tested by your works, and the things that you do show where you are.
Okay.
And a lot of times, the things that happen to us in life, it really
Okay, good thoughts, good thoughts. If I am of a weak character and somebody praises me, then that's could make me easily become proud or conceited if I don't handle that correctly. But if I have a strong character, then hopefully it'll be fine, and it'll make me stay humble and modest, and not be telling everybody how great I am or how great someone is. Man's reputation comes from others recognizing his integrity, not from him announcing it. Doesn't do me any good to talk about it. The value of gold and silver is tested by refining. The value of a man's character is tested by his reputation. So how you handle that praise, certainly, we hear people say, well, that certainly went to his head. So if it goes to his head, what does it do? Makes him proud, makes him conceited, makes him the kind of person we don't want to be. But if we stay humble, stay modest, a good name, that's to be cherished. And then point C there is that this good name will bring you honor. Proverbs 3, verses 3 and 4. A good name will bring you honor.
Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck and write them on the tablet of your heart, so you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man.
Okay, so if you have a good name, Solomon says here, what we're going to find is we find favor with God and with man. So it's not just enough to have favor with man, but to have favor with God and man is certainly what we would desire and like to have. Proverbs 11 and verse 20. I've got it wrote down here. The Lord detests people with crooked hearts, but he delights in those with integrity. If you want to have favor with God, then walk with integrity. God doesn't like those who are deceitful and crooked, but he delights with those who has integrity. And then honor from men. Says the world has nothing to say but praise for honorable men, but dishonorable conduct always brings reproach. And there's a whole bunch of verses listed there. Let's look at Proverbs 10 and verse 7. It's not a very good thought, is it? No. The memory of the righteous is blessed. When we think about righteous folks, that is a good feeling. But it says the name of the wicked will rot. Rotting things are not something we want to be a part of, do they? The new NLT version says we have happy memories of the godly, and don't we? When we think of godly people that have gone on, we have happy memories. It says, but the name of a wicked person rots away. So pretty bad stuff there. Memory of the righteous is a blessing for sure. And honor, look at Proverbs 18 and verse 3. Proverbs 18 and verse 3. Reproach. So my version says, doing wrong leads to disgrace, and scandalous behavior brings contempt. So if you're deceivious, is that a word? Deceivious and dishonorable, then you're going to bring reproach you're going to get reproach from men, but certainly not the way that a Christian should act. We want to be praised by God for our wisdom and for doing the right thing. So there's a lot to be said there about having a good name and importance of it and why we should seek that. Any thoughts on part one there? Okay.
So he says there, the world has nothing to say but praise for honorable men.
Are you 18:3?
I'm just there on number 2.
Okay, sorry.
The world
Okay,
Is it, he says against you, there are all kinds of evil against you falsely. Is it that, like, in the end, or it will come to nothing because it's false, or, I don't know, I struggled with balancing those two. Have a good name and let people have nothing but praise for you, but we're also gonna
yeah.
be attacked in terms of our reputation.
Good thought, good question. So somebody bail me out here. So Tara's question is, the author of this has wrote, the world has nothing to say but praise for honorable men, but we know from other verses, Matthew 5:11, she quoted, that, you know, in this world we're gonna see difficulties. People are gonna say bad things about us because of us trying to do what's right. And how do we balance that? How do we handle that? There you go.
Hoping the world can say truthfully or factually about us that isn't but praise. So they can either say nothing or praise if we're doing what's right. That'd be the truth. But of course, they're going to slander and all the spread false things if they don't like. They can't. If we have irritation, unless it's a lie, they can't spread anything but truth unless they're just unless it's a lie. So to me, I don't know if that's what he was going for, but obviously, this writer had to, he knows that we're going to be persecuted. He knows we're going to be, I don't know if he's going for the fact they can't spread anything that's truthful in God's eyes.
Okay.
Unless
Okay, good point. Yes, sir.
Look at, then and now and how all this works together. There's people driving by uttering falsehood about us right now. There's people drive by and see the name of the church up and they have things to say, but it's our neighbors, those that we shine our light to, that what are they going to say about us? We look at the persecutions and the things that happened in the New Testament with Christians. A lot of that, they didn't know those Christians. Paul just heard Stephen speak, and he, Saul rather, whenever he was known Saul, he stood by, he approved the stoning of Stephen. I think that's my take on it.
Okay.
People are going to utter falsities about us that don't know us.
Okay.
That might be true if they know us and we're a bad neighbor.
Okay.
And hard to get along with. That
Okay.
might be true. But those that know us.
Okay, good point. Those that know us, those that truly know us, they're not, and we're doing what's right, they're not going to say bad things about us. Now, those that don't know us and just are assuming something about us, they might say something is false, to Ron's point. But yeah, I think that's good. That help, Tara?
1 Peter 2:12.
Okay?
Keep your conduct among the Gentiles honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day of visitation.
Okay?
I think perhaps that speaks to both sides of what Brian said. It is going to happen, but if we are who we are supposed to be, our conduct is honorable despite what is said. It even changes that verse would indicate. So it is going to happen, but integrity and consistency has an impact on those that speak evil against us.
Okay, so Michael was talking about 1 Peter 2 and verse 12, and where it says, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, and does say if they speak against you. It says that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they observe, glorify God in the day of visitation. So that's what we're after. We're after having the reputation that others may see and will cause God to be glorified. It isn't for us to be glorified. It's for God to be glorified by the way that we live our lives. And hopefully we know that there are those who will speak evil against us, as is stated here. But our conduct is such that, to Brian's point, those that know us will know that that is not true and know that we're trying to do what's right and to glorify God by having that good name. Thank you. Thoughts? Anything else on that one? Part 2 says, so we want this reputation, good reputation. We want this good name. So how do we have it? How do we get it? And it uses that first integrity, by having integrity. Again, one who adheres to moral or ethical principles, consistently doing the right thing. Proverbs, well, the reading there, adherence is adherence to a code of values. It is a man's noblest possession. It is not an action in particular, but a motivation to action. Integrity speaks of a man's relationship with himself, and I don't know what that meant. I underlined that. I didn't know exactly how to read that one. But Proverbs, let's look at Proverbs 11 and verse 3. Okay, so if you've got this moral excellence, this integrity, this you abide by principles, then you're going to be guided. Honesty will guide good people. But dishonesty, this perversity or dishonesty will destroy you. Perversity of the unfaithful will destroy them. So if we've got this integrity, then we're going to be guided by God's principles and do the right thing, and always be honest in what we do. I think we've already looked at all those other verses. Maybe Proverbs 20 and verse 7. Proverbs 20 and verse 7, talking about integrity. I think this goes to the legacy and the children and what you leave behind. The righteous man walks in his integrity. His children are blessed after him. Or blessed are the children that follow him. So if you want your children to be blessed, and we all do, then we do the right thing. Then we have the good name. Then we have the good reputation, and then that will carry on to our children and leave a legacy that we can be proud of. Part 1 there, a man who walks integrity will not stumble because he has something to guide his steps properly. The dishonorable man is a blight on his family. They must live under his bad reputation. And something that certainly we don't want to leave behind for our children is a bad reputation. So we have integrity, and then B is honesty. And we read throughout Proverbs that God hates lying. He hates those that tell lies. And Proverbs 13 and verse 5. We just don't like liars, do we? We don't want to be people that lie. We don't want to be around people that lie. And we know that God says some pretty strong things. It's one of the things that he hates. But here in verse 5, it says, a righteous man hates lying. So if we're going to be like God, then that ought to be something that we don't like. A righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. So tell the truth, be honest. It'll certainly help your reputation, and it'll help your name and help your integrity, all those things we're looking at this morning. Honesty sets a man apart, gives him a good name, and it makes that comment, honesty is the best policy, and certainly we understand that. And then it says to get a good reputation, be diligent about it. Diligently seek God. Proverbs 11:27. Diligently seek God. Okay. If you want to have trouble, then be looking for evil. And we all had know folks that are that way. That they just can't stay out of trouble. They're always looking for trouble. And I try to stay away from those kind of folks. They're not seeking God for sure. They're seeking evil. But if you look for good, it says you will find it. Verse 20, if you look for good, then you're going to find it. If you look for evil, you're going to find that. But be diligently seeking God. Proverbs 21:21. Proverbs 21:21. I got that one?
One who pursues righteousness and loyalty finds little righteousness.
Okay. My version says, one who follows righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness, and honor. So if we want to have righteousness, we want to have honor, then be a righteous person. Follow after God, do what's right, seek His favor at all times, and certainly that will earn you a good reputation. And then finally, part D there says, do righteous deeds. Proverbs 20 and verse 11. Do righteous deeds. Even a child is known by his deeds, whether what he does is pure and right. Even children are known by the way they act, whether their conduct is pure. So if even children are known by their deeds, what about adults? How are we going to be known? More so by our deeds, by our actions. If we're doing what's right, the comment, what we do tells people what we are. And Matthew 12:33-35 talks about the tree that is known by its fruit. So you're going to be known by your fruit. Certainly we want good fruit, don't we? So we live as a righteous person, and our fruit will be known by others, and they'll see that we have done righteous deeds that will certainly help our reputation. There was a comment that I found somewhere on here that I wrote down I really liked, talking about a good name and living that good name. It says, live in such a way that if someone spoke badly of you, no one would believe it. I think I like that. Live in such a way that if somebody said, Trevor is just a terrible person, and I'd say, there's no way, I know better than that you wouldn't believe it. I think that's a great thing. If we live in such a way that if somebody's speaking badly of somebody here or somebody we know or of us, then nobody's going to believe that because our deeds and our actions and our fruit have proven otherwise. So I think that's something that we all ought to strive to do. And Ron, even elders, 1 Timothy 3 and verse 7, what does it say about elders there? What about an elder's reputation? 1 Timothy 3 and verse 7, moreover, this is going through the qualifications of bishops or elders, moreover, he must have a good testimony among those who are outside, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. So an elder must have a good testimony among those who are outside. So your reputation needs to be one that can't be called into question about everything as far as in this world. And that's God thought that was important enough that is one of the qualifications for an elder is reputation, your name, and how you're known by those from on the outside. Thoughts, comments on any of those?
So back up that statement that was integrity speaks of a man's relationship with himself. That is kind of a strange comment.
Yeah, so I went past it, so we'll go ahead.
But it's kind of like this internal consistency, like knowing the right thing to do and doing it versus knowing that you're doing what's wrong. I mean, there's just this progression of things. How if we perceive ourselves as trying to do the right thing and always trying to be honest and build a good reputation and all those sorts of things, it seems like things fall in line a little bit better than if we know we are intentionally cheating people or intentionally being dishonest. Because sometimes, I mean, it's just hard to keep track of what lies you've told to which person and which people that you've been like taking advantage of and all that sort of thing. So it's just it's a better way to live.
Okay.
If we're internally consistent with knowing that you're trying to do the right thing and that's what you're living in life.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that to me. I had difficulty with that. But I certainly I see where you're coming with that, and I think that does make good sense. So thank you for that. Any other thoughts or comments on any of the thing we've said or verses we looked at so far?
And one thing that wasn't noted is reputation is kind of a long-term play. I think we kind of alluded to it, but we didn't say it explicitly, but it's something that takes time.
Okay.
I think it's interesting that one of the qualifications of an elder is what people outside the church think of you. Why is that relevant? I mean, why would God care that what unbelievers think about those that are going to lead his people? I think it has to do something with the fact that a reputation is consistency over a long period of time. Like you said, it would be hard, can't speak evil against someone who has a long history of doing the right thing. It just doesn't stick. Someone who is, I think in other versions, a novice or a new Christian doesn't have that length of consistent service. It just matters that consistency over time, that stability, that solid, being somebody that's solid over time. The world recognizes over time that that's the case, and that's an indicator to us, to God, that it's somebody that is worthy to lead his people.
Yeah, good, very good point. You think of, I was thinking of the tree, the real strong tree with the deep roots. That's the kind of person that we want to be, and I think that's what God's saying there. Just you just got deep roots. You're very consistent. People see that, people know that, and they can't say anything that is going to be true. That because everybody, your people, those that know you know what your heart is and know what your life is, and that's seen every day by those folks. So, good point. Thanks, Michael. Anything else on that, Ron?
A good reputation, what Michael said is true, but you don't have to mess up once or twice to develop a bad reputation that you can never get rid of.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, and it's certainly true. You can destroy a lifetime worth of good stuff by a few really, really bad decisions or doing something that is not good. It's hard for people to get through that. Hard for them to get over that. Yes, ma'am.
We're expecting good things from you.
Okay.
But if you have a sibling, an older sibling that had a bad reputation, you get labeled. So it's not just the integrity of your parents.
Okay.
Your siblings that give you a good reputation.
Right. Yep. Very good. Very good. One-time events that can destroy you. I think we talk about it a lot when we're catering something, and we've done 10,000 caterings that have been successful. But you do one bad one, and you give somebody food poisoning or you kill somebody, then your reputation's shot forever. I mean, it's shot forever. So you're only as good as your last good catering. Or maybe it's a haircut. Maybe the guy that got to give you a bad haircut. You're only as good as your last good. Yes, sir.
You wasn't supposed to know that.
Well, but that's so your reputation can be destroyed quickly over a small thing, and there's nothing worth more than a good name. You can't have anything. Solomon says it's worth more than anything you could possibly have. So don't be foolish and destroy that on a pleasure of this life that's fleeting. Thought on.
Aaron's point about siblings, we can make applications to the church. It's why it's so important that we help bear one another's burdens and we help watch for one another, and we're open with our brothers and sisters about our own shortcomings, because we can have a great reputation in the community, but it only takes one or two incidences for somebody outside to say, oh, you go there, that's where this person goes, and I know they were involved in this.
Right.
Makes a black mark versus, oh, you go there, I
Sure.
on or whatever. And so that kind of family relationship and how we think about the legacy can apply to the church as well.
Okay, good point. So people, when they think of Southside, hopefully they think of lots of us that have good names, and they're not picking out one or two individuals that they know have got sin in their life and it's a problem and everybody in the community knows it, then it's certainly a blight to the church. And that's why God gives instructions for keeping the church pure and doing those things that keep the church with a good name and a good reputation. And that's what we're always striving to have and to keep. So thanks, Tara. Good point.
So I'll tell you a little piece of Southside's reputation is I met recently a guy that worships next door. And we got to talking, he found out that I went here, and he said, how many kids y'all got over there? So that is something, that's part of the reputation that we have apparently.
We have blessed with a very reproductive bunch, and we have lots of kids, and even the neighbors are noticing all of our great kids. So that is a good thing. That is a good thing. These questions, we've kind of answered all of them, I think. Number 7, does a man with a good reputation ever make mistakes? What do people know about him, though? What do people know about him, though? Yeah, so there's the question. Does a person with a good reputation ever make a mistake? Of course. So what does a person with a good reputation do about it? He'll make it right. Hopefully it's not on purpose. Hopefully it's not something that he did purposefully, and he won't try to conceal the mistake that he's made to tarnish his reputation, but he will correct the mistake and do all he can to rectify whatever it is that's tarnished his reputation in some way. So yes, it does happen. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, but hopefully we're praying to God and trying to get that corrected. Number 9, what is the final goal of a life of integrity? He uses Proverbs 4:18, which was a great verse. It says, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of the day. So we are like the morning sun if we've got integrity, and we're shining bright and ever brighter as the day goes on. So do you have a good reputation? I hope you do. Pray and work on it every day. Pray and work on it every day. Thank you.